But first, the bitter political battle in the national capital, where the Prime Minister in an election rally today launched a sharp attack on AAP over its funding. Arvind Kejriwal dared the government to arrest him and asked why parties like the BJP and the Congress do not fully disclose their donors.
घनघोर काली रात में काले धन के काले कारनामे, जो लोग स्विस बैंक में किसका अकाउंट है उसके अकाउंट नंबर जेब में लेकर के घूमते थे, उन्हें ये मालूम नहीं कि उनके अकाउंट में किसके पैसे आते हैं, बोले हमें मालूम नहीं.
A full-on attack by the Prime Minister on the Aam Aadmi Party and its sources of funding, a day after the BJP and a group of former AAP volunteers alleged that the Aam Aadmi Party had got 2 crores from dubious companies. Admitting that there was something wrong with the companies in question, the Aam Aadmi Party has, however, asked the Supreme Court to set up an SIT to probe the funding of all major parties.
अमित शाह का इंटरव्यू करो, उनकी 3,000 करोड़ की डोनेशन है, 2,500 करोड़ का वो हिसाब नहीं दे रहे, उनसे 2,500 करोड़ का हिसाब लेने की हिम्मत करके देखो आप. हमारे एक एक पैसे का हिसाब वेबसाइट पे है, तभी आपको पता चला कि ये कंपनी है, नहीं तो आपको कैसे पता चलता ये कंपनी है.
Interestingly, senior Aam Aadmi Party leader Yogendra Yadav has said that one of their own had recommended donations from these companies but did not reveal any names.
Now that all these things have come in the public domain, we'll try and review after this election.
For the second day, the group which has made the original allegations, Avam, held a press conference to elaborate on their charges. But Avam has refused to give any details of how it got the checks and also defended the timing of the disclosures as being coincidental, coming as it does barely 4 days before polling in Delhi.
We wanted to demonstrate to the common masses that not every money that comes from check is clean.
Is it fair enough to ask that perhaps you people were in touch with these companies earlier? Because you are making these allegations when all of you have fallen out of AAP.
Everyone is free to draw their own conclusions.
While 4 companies gave 50 lakhs each to the Aam Aadmi Party, interestingly, all have the same 1 or 2 persons as common directors. The addresses given by all the 4 companies are also fake.
Skyline Metals and Alloys is what the company records say, but that of course is not the case. This is a residence. In fact, sir, आप यहाँ कब से रह रहे हैं?
I am residing here since 1979. There was no such company in these premises.
With barely 2 days to go before the end of campaigning, the battle lines are firmly drawn, with polls predicting a close fight between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. With Siddharth Pandey, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Well, the question tonight is that apart from AAP, is it incumbent on all political parties now to come clean on where they get their funds from? We have Meera Sanyal, the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, joining us tonight. Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Rashmikant, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also joining us, Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, the former Chief Election Commissioner of India, who's worked at length on this issue, but probably with no luck most of the time. And Sohail Seth joins us tonight from Mumbai. Before this becomes a political battle, and it will on this program, Dr. Qureshi, let me ask you first. One is on this entire story that has broken out with AAP, which clearly has a lot of answering to do as far as these particular funds are concerned. But do you believe this reopens that whole debate about getting political parties across the board to disclose where their funds come from? Because we actually don't know where most of their money is coming from. Am I right?
Yes. I think it is very good for democracy that this very important subject has become center stage. Election Commission has been asking for transparency of political funding for more than 20 years. And in fact, 15 years ago, even the Law Commission suggested that. But we wanted an act, and our demands were very simple. The Election Commission doesn't want to interfere in day-to-day working. That please get your accounts audited annually by an independent auditor, not an in-house auditor, because in-house auditor will only do a whitewash job. We wanted an independent auditor and the audit report to be put in the public domain so that people could see for themselves who were the donors, because we believe that there is no free lunch. There is a quid pro quo. If a company pays you crores, they want something in return, like contract, licenses, even postings and transfers. And Aam Aadmi Party, they brought in a fresh air. I must appreciate that, because although the law did not make it compulsory for them, They put everything on the public domain. The fact that we are discussing the problem itself, that is exactly what the purpose of this transparency was.
But what is the biggest problem you face, sir? What is the biggest problem you face then with the other political parties on this issue? I mean, what is the reasoning that is given? Because I've read various things. Last year, the Election Commission, did want to impose stricter guidelines when it came to issues of funding. They even wanted parties to disclose those who were donating less than 20,000 rupees to them. I believe until now it is only above that, that amount, which is an exception. But what is the response that parties are giving? What is the reason that they're giving?
Our demand was to the government to bring an act, because there has to be an act of parliament. And political parties, and in 20 years we have had many political parties who are in the deciding position, but they did choose to ignore it. And the demand is very simple. Get the auditor from a panel to be given by the Election Commission, and they will audit and put it on the public domain, and that's all. Election Commission will have nothing more to do. People will see for themselves. And unfortunately, the Nidhi, what we found was when we talked to the corporate world, whether they are concerned about transparency of political funding, to our horror, we found that even they did not want transparency. And the excuse they gave was quite flimsy. They said that if we give to one party, we'll be victimized by the others. But that is not the point. Probably what they meant was that if they give to one party, their quid pro quo will get known also. So together, both of them opposed it, and the act never saw the light of the day. So
Suhail, weigh in on this. I mean, is this a very hypocritical debate that is going on currently in the Delhi election scene? I know it's a bitterly contested election, but in a sense, do you think it's a hypocritical debate?
It's hypocritical only for one reason, that Aam Aadmi Party, and to be fair to them, as Dr. Qureshi said, it's out in the public domain because of what they followed. But they were holier than thou. When you adopt a veneer of probity that, I will change the rules of the game, I'm the new messiah of transparency, and then when you're caught out like this, you have a very feeble response and a very feeble defense in the eyes of the public. Having said that, I think a larger debate looms, and Nidhi, that has to do with three things. Number one, in our country, other than the Election Commission, everything about an Indian election is murky, is non-transparent, and is riddled with a lot of issues, from probity of money collection to the manner in which candidates are selected. Many candidates have to pay their political parties money in order to get a ticket. The second is, we need to bring in financial electoral reforms rather than just about the character of candidates per se. Number three, I think what this government should do in the wake of its desire to clean up the corruption domain of India is that perhaps institute a new set of norms and disclosures, and perhaps even suggest that CAG might audit some of the leading national parties, or parties which collect a certain sum of money, above a certain sum of money. The tragedy in India is that there is complicity only in this domain between all political parties. No one wants disclosure. No one wants probity. I mean, we've heard of stories of Mayawati's party collecting small sums of money from individuals. Now we don't know where those individuals are. No, we don't. So it's actually a chit fund scam happening in the electoral process of our country.
Yeah, apparently for the BSP, we don't know about any of these donors.
I don't think even the BSP knows.
I take that question then to Nalin Kohli.
So the reality is, let's get to a solution.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
Get to a...
But Nalin Kohli, then,
I'm saying the solution is have CAG, or as Dr. Qureshi said, an auditor's body.
Okay, so Nalin Kohli, the 2 points that you heard Suhail and Dr. Qureshi making, I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that something that the government needs to look at? Because if you're serious about cleaning up black money in the system, cleaning up electoral politics, you're attacking AAP over its funding. But do the national parties also need to weigh in on this? Is this a hypocritical debate? I ask you the same question.
Well, Mr. Azlan, I mean, you're right about the question that you require more transparency. Where can there be a dispute with it? For example, what Dr. Qureshi is saying, one aspect I don't agree with. Put it, somebody's going to give money to get a favor only. So therefore, you won't have any funding of political parties ever. So therefore, he's taking it from the other extreme, which is that saying that every money that comes is coming for a favor. So then the question comes up, some people say that we should have state funding of elections. So that's where the point is. When legislature has to pass a law, which has to apply to all the stakeholders necessarily, whether we like it or we don't like it, in a democracy have to come to that common ground to pass it. We can't just say, I want to do it, you don't want to do it, or somebody else says. Let me take another example. It's reality in this case, a country, false cases can be filed. We know the truth as much as we want to deny it. We also know the harassment of false cases. We also know that people can be victimized. We've seen it across hues of administration. So that brings the next point. Many people do not want identification because they want to keep it personal. That's the part of the evolution of democracy. Now, some will say this is purposely being done because political parties desire to hide behind a veneer of saying that these are the excuses. So therefore, I'm simply saying when it comes to a broader issue, the broader issue has to be discussed at the broader point when all the stakeholders are involved. When we come to the point for which the Aam Aadmi Party is being felicitated indirectly.
Nalin, 1 second. Nalin, the point is that the Aam Aadmi Party, as Dr. Qureshi also pointed out, and we'll come to the specific issue involving them as well, but they have suo moto taken it upon themselves to disclose who is giving money to them on their website. The point is today, if the BJP and the Congress are going after the AAP on this issue of disclosure, I mean, it is the BJP and the Congress and several other political parties that don't even want to come under RTI. They don't want to be subject to the right to information. We don't know about some 70 to 80% of the donations that are made to the largest political parties that have declared that they have got income of hundreds of crores over the last few years.
Okay, no.
So therefore,
Nidhi,
I'm asking whether there are double standards here.
There aren't. There are practical aspects too. When I renewed my membership, I gave that 2 or 5 rupees. Now, therefore, here's the point. Many people do give that 2 and 5 rupees too. There are others who also give 100 rupees, who give 50 rupees, 200 rupees. Now, whether we want to do that, and I'm saying there is no harm in doing it, and about the paperwork and all involved, let everybody take a stake on it, a stand on it. Why is it hypocritical? I don't understand. The second point is about RTI. Financial aspects, Ms. Razdan, we've been in power or in government for the last 8-9 months, and as far as I see it, we've been in election after election till now, despite that governance is taking place. So it's not as if a government does not want to do it. Sometimes not everything can be done on one day. We are not a Arvind Kejriwal who can promise the moon on a daily basis and run away from it. We stick to our commitments.
Okay, so let me get the Congress in first. Meera Sanyal, I'll come to you because I want to get the national parties on this. Why don't you all disclose where your money comes from? We don't know, we don't know where a lot of the BJP's money is coming from. We don't know about the Congress either. And frankly, many other political parties.
I agree with you totally that there's a complete lack of transparency, and this AAP case has brought this issue in focus, and therefore I don't think this debate is hypocritical at all. I think it's a very, very crucial debate. But the issue that arises fundamentally is, for example, you talked about RTI. RTI came under a particular context where you talked about public funding, right? Now, the fact of the matter is we've reached a stage today where people have lost faith in political parties. People say black money comes, and some people, and like Nalin rightly said, that you know, it is you take a grandstanding position where you say that some people do not deliberately sort of want their names to come. That is the truth, because the fact of the matter is that they fear victimization of the next government that might come in power. Now, therefore, what is required is a very strong institutional system that needs to be put in. Now, you put in SIT. What does SIT consist of? It consists of the same government officials who are accused of bribery or accused of corruption. So, you need to build a very, very strong institutional system. Mr. Qureshi talked about an election commission named auditor. Now, are auditors above board? They are not. Because our entire system, whether it's the legislature, whether it's the executive, whether it's the judiciary.
1 second. If AAP can do it, why can't you?
No,
if they can put their donors on their website,
yes,
why can't you?
I agree that donors should, whether the donors are put on website, there has to be a system which is completely 100% transparent, whether it's 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 20 rupees. And many people, because of this lack of transparency, have taken advantage of it in business. And you know of a business house, which is a leader of a business house which is in jail right now, where they talk about 2 rupees, 3 rupees collection, and they are not able to disclose it. Why are you not able to disclose it? You should be able to disclose it. And we should be able to disclose it. There is complete need of transparency, and the government must take a lead in talking to political parties, civil societies, and all sections of society to ensure that there is complete transparency in the funding of political parties.